So welcome everyone. This is 7.3 on double angle and half angle formulas. Okay, so just like how we add or subtract the addition and subtraction formulas, this is if you just multiply it by 2 or if you divide it by 2. Okay, so these are the formulas for double angle. And we're gonna really quickly just um, go through some examples. Okay. All right, so example number 1 is if cosine of x equals negative 2/3 and x is in the second quadrant, find cosine of 2x and the sine of 2x. So if x is in the second quadrant, so the first thing I want to talk about is that x is in the quadrant 2. Okay? If the angle is in quadrant 2, then you know that x has to be between 90 and 180, right? 90 degrees and 180 degrees, correct? So 2x has to be between what? 180 and 360. Okay? So if you look up here, I'm going to first get the sine of 2x, where sine of 2x is equal to 2 sine of x times cosine of x. So sine of 2x is equal to 2 sine of x times cosine of x. So I do need the value of sine, right? How do I figure that out? How would I figure out the sine of 2x or the sine of x if cosine of x equals negative 2/3 in the second quadrant? We are going to use the Pythagorean theorem, but first we have to draw it out, right? So in the second quadrant, I want to draw a random triangle, a random reference triangle, right? And cosine is negative 2/3, so that's negative 2. That's 3, right? X over R. So if that's X over R, what's my Y value? Square root of 5. Okay. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and it's positive. So sine of X is equal to square root of 5 over 3. So we just plug it in. Yeah. 2 square root of 5 over 3 times negative 2 over 3, which is 2, oh no, negative 4 square root of 5 over 9. Okay. Questions? Pythagorean theorem. That'll be 9 minus 4. So we had this, right? And we got to figure out what this is, correct? Yeah. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay. All right. So we gotta find the double angle formula for cosine as well. And with cosine, there's three of them, right? There's the cosine squared minus sine squared. There's 1 minus 2 sine squared, and then 2 cosine minus 1, cosine squared minus 1. We can use whatever one we want. Okay? I'm going to use that last one there just because this deals with just cosine. So cosine of 2x equals 2 cosine squared of x minus 1. So we have 2 times negative 2 over 3 squared minus 1. That's 2 times 4 over 9 minus 1. This would be 8 over 9 minus 1. That would be negative 1 over 9. Okay? So if my double angle formula is between 180 and 360, and I see that sine of 2x is negative 4 square root of 5 over 9, and cosine of 2x equals negative 1 over 9, where is my double angle? What quadrant? Third. Yeah. Because my cosine and sine values are negative. Yeah. Okay. Questions on this example? So that's how we're going to use the double angle formulas. Okay. Write cosine of 3x in terms of cosine. Okay. So this is like a simplifying. So cosine of 3x, that's the same thing as cosine of 2x plus x, right? So if I use the addition formula of cosine, that would be crazy cosine switches signs. This would be a minus cosine, cosine, sine, sine. 2x, x, 2x, and x. Right? Cosine of 2x. I am going to use the first one or the last one again. Okay, so I know sine of 2x equals 2 sine x times cosine x times sine x. So this would be negative 2 sine squared x times cosine x. What I did here was I just multiplied the signs. Sine times sine is sine squared. Right? So this one would be 2, or no, I'm going to use the sine one. I'm going to use this one here. 1 minus 2 sine squared of x. Times cosine of x. And if I distribute that out, it would be like this, right? So I would have cosine of x minus 4 sine squared x times cosine x. Questions so far on what I did? Yeah, from here to here, I just gather my like terms, right? To get to that. Okay, I have to get it in terms of cosine. So I know sine squared x equals 1 minus cosine squared x, right? I'm going to go ahead and distribute this out. And that would be your answer. Okay? All right. Okay, this is the half angle formulas. That was a double angle. This is the half angle. Okay, so in this case, it's all about half angles, right? So we're halving that angle. So if we're trying to find the exact value of sine of 22.5 degrees without a calculator, how do we use this to find that? No. How do we get 22.5? Yeah. Yeah, it's 45 divided by 2. Divided by 3. 45 divided by 2 is the same thing as 22.5, right? So the sine formula is 1 minus cosine plus or minus. I'll deal with the plus or minus in a little bit. Square root of 1 minus cosine of 45 over 2, right? What's the cosine of 45? Square root of 2 over 2 all over 2. Okay. So my numerator, I'm just going to show it to you guys and hopefully we will understand. That's my numerator times 1/2. I flipped it. And this part here became this whole thing here. Common denominator of 2. Okay. And then we still have our square root. And we still have plus or minus. Okay. So this guy equals plus or minus square root of 2 minus square root of 2 over 4. This will be plus or minus square root of, not the big square root of 2 minus square root of 2 over 2. Now, is this a plus or a minus? Now, I know 22.5 is in my first quadrant. In my first quadrant, my sign is positive. So this becomes positive square root of 2 minus square root of 2 over 4. Over 2. Okay? Because it's in my first quadrant. 22.5 is in my first quadrant, where sign is positive. Okay? Okay, the next one is find tangent of the half angle of tangent if sine of u equals 2 over 5. So I would look at this, right? I would need both sine and cosine anyway, right? It doesn't really matter which one I use. I want to use the second one though. Sine of u. No, actually, I'm going to use the first one. 1 minus cosine of u over sine of u. Okay. So the half angle for tangent is 1 minus cosine u over sine u, right? If u is in quadrant 2, draw a random one. Sine is 2 over 5. So what is the squared? What's 5 squared? Minus 4. So this side is square root of 21. Right? But it's also negative because I'm on my second quadrant. So cosine of u equals negative square root of 21 over 5. Right? I know my sine is 2 over 5. So it's going to be 1 minus negative square root of 21 over 5 over 2 over 5. Okay? My numerator becomes 1 plus square root of 21 over 5 over 2 over 5. Common denominator, my numerator. This will be 5 plus square root of 21 over 5. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip my denominator, and this becomes 5 halves. Yeah. So here, this guy right here, my numerator, became the whole thing here. Right? And then I keep, change, flipped this guy to be multiplied by 5 halves. And then here we get the 5s to cancel out. So we have 5 plus square root of 21 over 2. And that's it. Okay. That's the lesson for today, class. Thank you.